We're back here, Alto 060 and Cristina Radio Network, and we're doing a special show with Dr. Tracey Wilen. She's the author of the new book, Employment for Life, and even though the book is related to every industry, obviously here in Alto 060 we're talking about cars. So thank you very much again for your time, Dr. Wilen. And before I forget, can you tell our audience where can they look first for your book and then more about all the things that you do?
Oh, sure. Thank you, Javier. The new book is called Employed for Life, 21st Century Career Trends. It'll be out in January 2004. And you can come to my website, which is traceywilen.com, TRACEYWILEN.com. My Twitter is @TraceyWilen, or my Facebook is Dr. Tracey Wilen, and it will be on Amazon.com. Thank you very much.
Oh, excellent. So we're talking about new trends in employment, and we have seen a huge change in General Motors when they just named Mary Barra as the new CEO of the company, which is the number one car manufacturer in the world. Actually, they sell more cars than anybody else around the world, and they have named her. She's been in the company for over 30 years, and it's a great story, I think. I mean, you probably know more about her than me, but she's been there for 30 years, and she started as an intern, so which is a great story, right?
Oh, it is a great story, and she actually comes from a family of automakers, and she really went through all the ranks of the automotive industry. So it is an example of someone who stayed in a firm for in an industry and really had incredible success. And I'm particularly excited because I know how hard the auto industry has been for women, and I think this is the first example of how we're going to see increased movement for women in this industry. So it's quite exciting.
Yeah, and it's exciting in many different ways, because as we were talking in the previous segment about the experience at the dealership, which is the first contact that most people have with a car manufacturer, and maybe her ways of dealing with people will help change that too, right? I mean, she spent a lot of time not only in engineering, in sales and all that, but also in human resources. So I think that's probably going to be a huge asset for General Motors to benefit.
Yes, you're bringing up some very good points, because actually women control 85% of the purse strings for purchases. And so when I was at the dealer, I met a salesperson who said, you always need the husband and the wife, or the male and the female, together when they buy the car, and I'll tell you why. The husband can't buy the car unless the woman says yes. But the woman won't buy the car unless the husband takes on the negotiation with the dealer. And so, my sense is when you have someone of her caliber and background in the driver's seat, so to speak, I think she'll be able to bring those two together so that anyone can buy a car and also be able to negotiate for a car. And one of the examples I see coming out of GM is they actually are doing a lot of online interface with people to make the car buying process a little more human and easy. So I'm very optimistic about it.
Yeah, and speaking about the whole industry, which is obviously male-driven, and she's been in the company for a long time, what will be your advice to young women who see her now, hopefully really like a role model? I mean, what will be obviously hard work, but what other skills are needed in young female students who are looking to get into a high position in these huge companies?
Absolutely, and I think the opportunity for women, particularly in the automotive industry, is huge because, as you mentioned, there's so few. I looked at Mary Barra's background. I always look at the backgrounds of people who move into executive positions, and I see that she has a strong engineering background, which is no surprise to me because of the number of openings that are in engineering and also in auto engineering. So I would encourage young people to look at computer science and engineering, but also look at the blend of people skills and problem solving. And I think this is where women really excel. In my research on women, we found that women who can combine a lot of the technical skills with the business skills of problem solving, people skills, being able to collaborate and establish relationships are actually excelling, because that's how business is done. People are through other people, not a mechanical transaction anymore.
Yeah, and women. I mean, as you said before, during the car purchasing process. I mean, for some women, like it's kind of scary to negotiate numbers and finance terms and all those things. But that's something that really has to be, that barrier has to be broken, right? I mean, a young woman have to look at as like a more ample field of expertise to really succeed nowadays in any field.
Well, in my research, what I found is that women, actually, 85% of the women I interviewed felt that women excelled in business negotiations and complex negotiations, and that you actually do want to have women in there at the business table negotiating. What women don't particularly care for doing is negotiating for themselves.
Oh, okay.
In terms of salary or personal items or promotion. And so I think that it's a skill. It's a skill that anyone can learn, and it's really not about personality and emotion anymore. It's really just about numbers, and it's a skill that anyone can learn.
Yeah. You've been a scholar also at Stanford University, right? One of the top universities here in the United States. And I'm sure that you have seen the change in demographics in the classroom, where more women probably are taking engineering and tech-related careers than in years before. What's your experience in that?
Well, what I see in the engineering schools is unfortunately still not enough women. There's more today than yesterday, but there certainly could be an increase of women in technology. I do see a lot of people from outside of the United States in the classrooms as well. Over the world, that math and science drive salary and opportunities. And so if you think about, where do you want to be and how much money do you need to make or want to make, and then look at what are the industries that you can pick to be able to accelerate your income. Now, many women in the auto industry have said, absolutely, there's so much opportunity here, particularly if you have a technical background or an engineering background, because you're very different than the average employee who's been applying. And so there's more job opportunities for you. So I think it's just, what are you good at, what do you like to do, but also combine it in a practical way of where are the jobs and where are the salaries.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot of resources before you pick where you're going to go to school for, right? I mean, like all the universities have these offices where they really direct you and like help you to pick exactly what's good for you. How did that process go, and what's your recommendation for young students?
Absolutely. There's a few ways of students. Number one, if you're looking for a college, I would start in high school. And I would look at colleges as if it was interviewing colleges for your business. You want to make the right choice. College is very expensive, and you want to make sure that you make the right choice, but at the same time, you need to think about your career in the future and start to connect the dots. Don't waste time in college. Think about what courses will have the biggest impact. What groups can you join that will give you skills that you can use in the workforce, such as team building skills, leadership skills, technical skills, people skills, problem solving skills. This is all part of, creating useful time with your college degree to think and learn, but also so that you can have an outcome.
Yeah.
Practical outcome in your career.
Yeah, and for parents, what's the recommendation in terms of when should they start like looking into these things and like to identify what are the topics that their children are interested in? How early can they start identifying these kind of things and help them to move ahead?
Oh my goodness, there are some parents who start very young with their kids. And I would encourage the parents, as you can, expose your children to many opportunities so that you can just start to assess their skills. What are they good at? What do they like? Or do they have a strength? Is it sports? Is it music? Is it art? Is it math? Is it language? Is it reading? Is it writing? Because then you can start to observe your child and help give them guidance or give them direction as they go into school. By the time you're in high school, you really should be thinking about college, if that's your direction, or if it's not your direction, what direction do you want to take? So that you're not graduating either high school or graduating college without having some plan of action.
Excellent, yeah. We're talking again with Dr. Tracey Wilen, the author of Employed for Life, a book that is coming out just now, and you can find it in Amazon.com and all the different ways. And so, Dr. Wilen, we started talking about Mary Barra at GM. Do you see that trend? I mean, we only have like 1 minute, so let's try to address this. Do you see this trend being copied or followed by the other car manufacturers? Ford, it's supposed to replace Alan Mulally soon. So do you see a trend there maybe that is going to try to imitate that?
Oh, I think that competition drives opportunity, and this is an opportunity for women, and all of the auto manufacturers have women in executive role who I'm sure many are viable, positions for the next CEO of a company. So yes, I think we'll see more of this trend.
That's great. So don't go away. We're going to come back for the last segment of this special show, our first show in 2014 with Dr. Tracey Wilen. And we're going to talk about mobility, like the new apps, like the new things that are going into the car, especially with smartphones and all that. So don't go away. This is Auto 060. I'm Javier Mota, and we'll be back with Dr. Tracey Wilen.